What's up, guy?
What's happening?
What's going on? What's up, Phil?
Big Phil.
What's up,
The
fellas?
return,
How are you?
return of the Perry. How are you? How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. It's not like anything's happened in the Patriots world since we last spoke, so I don't really know what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure we'll
No.
find something.
No, we have
For
nothing.
sure.
We have nothing to discuss whatsoever.
At all. Nothing. Nothing.
You guys watch that Kentucky Derby? That thing was pretty sweet.
I did actually.
It was.
It was honestly, to be honest, it was the first time I've ever watched not only the build up to it, but the actual race.
Mhm. I did too.
That was the
Not
first
long.
time. I was a little disappointed in myself. I'm Puerto Rican. I had no idea that it's such a staple as far as becoming a jockey in Puerto Rico. But there were also seven um, Puerto Rican jockeys, and the winner was a Puerto Rican jockey. So, I have my
Hey,
my
Oh, look
Puerto
at
Rican
you.
towel.
let's go.
Love it. Love
Shout
it.
out to Puerto Rico. Yeah, it was an incredible race. A lot of history made, obviously. But yeah, it was absolutely incredible to me.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
And
It was.
that's probably the last time I'll be able to change the topic on you guys.
Potentially,
A little bit.
you never
A little
know.
bit. Well, it started out on a day where we thought we were going to have more to talk about in terms of the Celtics, and
Yeah, I know you mentioned the
you know,
banner.
yeah,
We'll try to.
I know the
we'll try
banner.
to
Oh,
leave that out as much as we can.
They did not play like your guy, sir.
that's my guy right
They did
there.
not play like Mr. Bass.
Leon.
Gives us a breath of fresh air that we're finally moving on to football.
Big pull.
It kills you when I actually texted Derek the day after, and I was like, deep breath. You smell that? I was like, it's football season. Like
Yep.
it's May, but it's football season. And
Yep.
granted, we all want deep runs for our teams, but football is it's where it's at, and that's what we need to focus on, and brings us the most joy.
Well, and it's never ending. It's never ending,
No.
even if the storylines aren't necessarily bringing you joy in the off season,
No,
depending on
for
what
sure.
may or may not be going on with the team. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Kick it off.
really this essentially personally I don't know. There's obviously nothing to talk about in the world of the NFL
Really.
that is going to really draw the attention from the world. From the football world, obviously, there's been headlines and such. Obviously, OTA, rookie OTAs, things of that nature. Um, but as far as personally, I've had discussions with my guys, my group chats and such, co-workers, just regular people on the street. Um, Personally, I think Mike is in a very serious situation. Um, I don't like. Obviously, there's things this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, 6 years apparently.
I don't think that his job is in jeopardy per se, but there's also the human aspect of it in my mind where I'm like, this is possibly like his life is changing. Like this is becoming him as a figure. And I'm not sure if there's ways to totally focus on the future of this program if this stain is not only on you, but it's just another unfortunate, real shitty shit stain that the Patriots
on the Patriots logo. Yeah.
Again, it's just another negative thing that people get to talk about.
Yep.
So your thoughts on Vrabel, period, and this obviously personal but very detrimental situation.
Yeah, so a couple things there for sure. Serious situation, and I think what makes this story and how it's going to continue to unfold hard to predict is that, like, these are human beings involved, right? Number one. So like you don't know how he's going to handle it, how he's going to change, if at all. That was one of the first things that, when we started talking about, okay, how could this impact the football team, right? Like it's impacting him and Sorry,
Part 2.
boys. Sorry,
No,
boys.
it's all
I don't know what happened.
We
They
stay still.
yeah. We start talking about Vrabel, and then suddenly my connection cuts out. That's some next level stuff by the
That's
Patriots PR department right there. No,
somebody got wind of what's going on right
No,
now.
the last we heard was you don't know what's going on in his personal life.
well, yeah, and so that's number one, right? How does he handle all of this stuff? Because one of their strengths as a team
Mhm.
last year was his personality, his bravado, his confidence, his ability to connect with his energy, right? If any of that is dialed back at all because of what's going on at home,
Mhm.
to me, that could potentially impact the football team. So that's number one. Number two, when you're talking about sort of the how this impacts the organization, I think it's a relevant question. It's a pertinent question. I like you. I don't think he's going to lose his job over this, and I've felt that way for a long time. Now, again, how does this unfold? Is there more information that comes out? Is there,
Seems to
I
be.
don't want to even
There's
speculate, but whatever.
definitely more to come.
Are there other things that are going to elevate this story to something different, or make it give it a whole new avenue where, it really does force the Crafts to make a hard decision?
Mhm.
I think they've been through a lot as an organization, as we all know. They've been through some stuff in the past.
A lot.
They continue to be a very lucrative and productive and um, popular business. So
Mhm.
I think they would like to obviously be able to ride this out and get through to the other side, get to some football games. I think it would help them to
Yep.
have some stuff going on
Yep.
Mhm.
because there's nothing
Some
else to talk
distractions.
about right now,
Yep.
and go from there.
Yep.
I am not one of these people. I'm curious if you guys have heard this or feel this way. I'm not one of these people who says that the slow, steady leak of photos and okay, they're on a boat, they're at a bar. Like, are we going to start? Karin and I were talking about it. It's like, are we going to start? Are people going to find like the ticket stubs to like they went to go see
Yep.
Interstellar a few years in 2023, and like it's like at some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
if you're not
So
really teaching us anything with whatever intel you may have, I'm just not sure how much buzz it will generate.
mhm.
Mhm.
So I don't think that more of that sort of stuff getting out will lead to him losing his job. But I think there are people out there, guys, who do feel that way.
Oh, there's
If
a
there's
ton.
more boat
Yeah.
reservations, if there's dinner reservations, if there's hotel
sure.
trips, if
Yeah.
there's plane tickets, if there's people seeing him, different parts of the globe, like
And yeah,
just
that's
that
my biggest
stuff
thing. Yep.
alone could lead to maybe him losing his job. And it's hard for me to picture that. But the one point that
Same.
Karin made was maybe he would want to step away. Like, it might not be the
Yeah.
Kraft saying this
Yep,
is too
yep.
much for us, but at some point, does it become too much for him? And he said,
Mhm.
this is
Yep.
just, it's an embarrassment that, I don't want to have to deal with in the public eye anymore. Let me step away
Yeah.
and
He's
see
gone
if it
through
can die
enough.
down.
And it's just it's a real shitty thing to think about because obviously we had such a great year after a 1 year coach already with Mayo.
Oh.
But I just don't. It's just I'm just being a regular human outside of just being a Patriots fan, and it's like, all right, I'm not in this situation, but optically, this is like really bad. So if there was a video yesterday that was launched by TMZ, somebody obviously made money from TMZ, finding a picture of her
Get a lot of
pregnant, him with her while pregnant at a resort from what seemed to be a Snapchat. So obviously, Snapchat has a memory cloud. So what you're saying and current is not far fetched. The conversation that you had is not far fetched.
Yeah.
Personally, it makes me believe like, yeah, if this stuff continues to come out, it's only going to continue to become Mike Vrabel. He's not only going to be New England Patriot legend, head coach of the Patriots.
Yep.
He's going to become the guy. He's going to basically be stripped away of everything that he's known for because all of this is just generating so quickly, so fast. And obviously, it's a very personal matter. I did, I don't know, but obviously, I would personally rather have it sooner rather than later. only because,
so you can focus on football.
but also only because I feel as though his replacement is waiting in Mike Tomlin.
So and that was something that was reported, I think, by the Daily Mail, was that the Crafts had maybe considered, Tomlin as a possible replacement, which is a funky one to me. Just it would make sense, right, if they had actually had those discussions. But my guess is there are basically like two people involved in those meetings right now, both with the last name Kraft. And if one of them is telling the Daily Mail that they're considering Mike Tomlin before Mike Vrabel's even been fired, that's a wild idea to me, because you're only contributing to the fact that this thing is like
that's
off the rails and it's not coming back. Like, so I don't know. I don't want to call in to question anybody's reporting. But that one was a tough one for me to believe. I think your point about this stuff becoming well, like I think it's a great point about like how much does this take over who he is, and that's sort of what I was trying to get at a little bit before. But like, it's on him to make sure it doesn't become him.
Yeah.
Right. It's that this is as far as his work life goes. That's probably the number one thing. Like, and so I think in order to make sure that that doesn't happen, the first thing you can't do is ignore it. And he hasn't done that, right? So he's talked about this with his players. He's been open about how he's leaving and missing a day in the draft and, all this sort of stuff. So I think he's been pretty honest with them. I don't think he has to get into all the nitty gritty details of what the relationship was and lay out an itinerary of every trip they ever went on or anything like that.
At this time, we went to this spot. Yeah.
I don't think he needs to do that, but he does have to be open with them about, how he feels about, what's going on with himself and his family now and, the mistakes he's made. And I think, guys, the way locker rooms work a lot of times, number one, players, for the most part, at their core, the things they care most about are you going to put me in a position to succeed and allow me to get paid? And like those are the two things at the forefront. That's what makes a good coach in a lot of players' minds. There's this other thing that's about connection and quote unquote family and building relationships. And a lot of that is, something that they got credit for last year in terms of helping build that culture and the sort of identity that they wanted to build last year. And so, that stuff might be a little harder for him now to be able to generate. But I don't think it's not the number one thing. The number one thing is, are you going to make me a better player, which is going to allow me to get paid? And if they can get to the season, now this is why I say they need some games. They need some football stuff to do.
Something.
Get to the games, win, and a lot of this will die down. If you don't win, unfortunately for Vrabel and for anybody else involved, this is only going to continue to come up as a story because now people will look at it and now they've got a reason for why you're not winning.
It's a big one.
Well, you made the Super Bowl last year. You won 14 games last year. What's the difference? And like that's not fair. I don't think that would be fair. The schedule will be part of it probably. But like you guys were a great team last year. Now you're not. What happened during the offseason? That's very reductive.
Focused.
That's very superficial, but it's easy for people to go to, and it will happen if they don't win. So it does put more pressure on them to perform when the season does come around.
You kind of stole my question. I was going to ask you, how much more important does a good start for the Patriots need to be now? Like, it's almost you almost have to get off to like a 3-1. Good start, or 2-2, but look good. Like don't look like you stepped back or something's just off. Like Drake,
you can't allow this to cover to blanket you. You have to break through this as a team. The players have to be bought in. We all know. We all.
They seem like they are bought in. Still,
this cannot. This will be at the forefront of why we had a unsuccessful season. If that
which is going to suck for Patriots fans, for everybody, Vrabel, for the Crafts, and it hinders the future because my biggest thing when in the beginning was when Mayo was here as well, was don't stunt Drake May's growth.
Mhm.
And I don't want Drake to feel like, because I think Drake is the next big thing, obviously. But like, I don't want what happens here to hinder his performance and then him take a second thought. Exactly. And say, do I really want to be here? And then and that fifth year comes where we've seen Gonzalez now with the fifth year stuff, and we'll get into that in a minute. Um, I don't want the reason I don't want him to leave
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because of all the noise and the negativity around the team. So I want to be able to establish the character, what Vrabel instilled
You don't
last
want a
year.
domino effect of
Exactly.
negative
Exactly.
things to occur.
Exactly. I don't want to
With-
lose out on
and
two
then, yeah,
of our
exactly.
best players because of
Or just a successful a successful decade. Like
Yeah.
this could be detrimental to the next decade that we
Yeah.
thought was actually ahead
Yeah.
of schedule.
And I'm
So,
a Vrabel guy. Like I've loved him when he played.
for sure,
I
the
was
majority of
huge
people- Yeah.
last year. You know, I loved how he came in and he was just like he just instilled day one, like we're here to play football, we're here to win. This isn't like last year. We're throwing all of last year out. The reactions from the players, though, I like it so far. From like Drake, from a lot of them. Barmore, I think, said some. Milton Williams had comments about it, and it was just all positive. It was all, that's coach. So,
Yeah, and I think that's part of
hopefully
being
it
in the
shows.
locker room too, right? Like if you give
Yeah.
that first thing, that honesty part of it, and
Yep.
you're just upfront with these guys, and
Yeah.
he's already now proven that he's the kind of coach who can put them in positions to succeed and get paid. Like he's two-time coach of the year. He gets him to a Super Bowl last year when expectations were crazy low. So like he's got those credentials established.
Yeah.
And I think the locker room, a lot of times, I won't say no matter the mistake that you make, but if you've made a mistake, the kind of mistake that, maybe some of those guys in those chairs that he's talking to have made or something similar to, nobody in there has been married 30 years the way he has been.
Mhm.
But like, I think guys are very quick to forgive and they're quick to have each other's backs. And I think Vrabel's personality will sort of lend itself to it playing out that way where, hey, and that's why you're hearing, I think what you're hearing from players, which is
Yeah.
like, we appreciate him. We appreciate his honesty. He made a mistake. He's been
Oh, we're
upfront
not
about
doing
it. And we're going to support him.
Let him handle
Yep.
what he needs to handle.
Yep.
We're focused on that.
Yeah. And now the pressure is on. It's on guys
Right.
like
For
Drake
We need to
May,
win.
Yes.
Josh McDaniels to like come out of the gates and
Yep.
come out
But
firing.
what
Like
more, we wanted that anyway.
Right.
We
Right.
Now
wanted
it's
that
even
anyway
more.
after the Super Bowl performance.
It's
That's
even
what we
more-
want regardless.
Yeah,
So,
it's even more imperative now that
Yeah.
that they get off to a good start. You
Um,
can't blame the schedule.
yeah. And
Nope.
obviously
It's not going. The schedule isn't going to be
Yeah.
looked at as the excuse anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
We know that it's going to be crunchy. We know that
Yeah.
potentially the first few weeks are going to be away, more than likely, first month or
there's
so. So,
concerts at Charlotte.
but it obviously everything transpires with, the offseason obviously kicks off with free agency and things of that nature. But obviously, we wanted to extend our congratulations to you.
Yes, sir.
With having a the most
Yes, sir.
successful first round.
The most accurate.
Yeah.
Overall, baby.
28 of 32.
Yep.
I mean, and it carries over to round two. We'll get into that. But shout out to you, sir.
Hey.
You are incredible. I'm
12.
sure that was not easy at all.
No, and
Well-
that's just amazing.
I appreciate that. I do
Out of this
appreciate it. And a lot of work does go into those mock drafts and my buddy Bert Breer and I, because he's in our office so often and he's on the air with us during the draft, and it's great, sort of a tag team in our draft coverage with him. And obviously Curran is there, and Michael Hawley was with us this year for a lot of the draft stuff. But Bert and I are really nerdy about it, like really, and it's not just nerdy because it's part of, it's a chance for us, and he's league wide, Bert is as tapped in as anybody. And I've been lucky enough to get to know a lot of people in different places in the league.
So you're tapped in too.
Covering this team for a long time, allows you to sort of develop relationships that end up sort of, sprawling out. And so I've been very lucky. But it's a unnecessarily is how I'll put it. It's an unnecessarily stressful time because it's like you're studying for a test almost. And that last mock draft that you put out there is kind of like your chance to flex a little bit, right? You're trying to get some stuff right, and it's on the record. And it's like, everybody does their picks, before a season starts, and you say the Patriots will go 14-2, and I say they'll be 13-3, whatever. And like, so there's a lot of ways in which we are in the prediction business, but the mock draft is sort of like a different level because there's so much subterfuge to it. That when you feel like you get good information, that's great. Now, all that being said, I put in what I feel like is about the same amount of work every year, and I talk to basically the same number of people every year, and I've never hit this many, and so
it's impressive.
There's a lot of luck involved, boys. There's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of luck involved.
There's a lot of skill in there too.
Well, I appreciate it. But it was a good year. It was a good year. So we had the champagne. I forced Curran to pour champagne all over me later that night. We should have recorded it.
That's
our Super Bowl. Trophy, that's our Super Bowl. That's our Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate it though.
With you raising the champagne bottle like
well, here's the thing. Here's why I'm a fraud. The one pick I really care about, the one pick I care about the most, and getting that one right, the Patriots pick, I couldn't have been more wrong. They traded up for a tackle. I had them trading back and taking a tight end. So that's listen, we got to work on that for next year.
But on our show back in March, if you remember, and we did because we clipped it and posted it yesterday, you accurately predicted that that the tackle position would be available, and at that point you could have somebody that could make an impact, not maybe immediately, but could be your future. So you did say that on the show.
Wow. I'm happy I said that.
You have it. You take credit for that, because when they traded up and got Lomu, that was the first thing in my mind. I was like, Phil said that on the show. Like, how this dude is a friggin' genius. Like,
that's just another good example of how like the draft is such a hard thing to pin down, because the information changes. The information changes. So like I had talked to a number of people, including people here, about they were not optimistic. The Patriots were not optimistic at all before the draft that a tackle would get to within range for them. They just
they the last one.
I think around March though, they would have said, hey, we need a tackle. Those guys are hard to find. It's a pretty deep class. One should get to us. That they had been disabused of that notion. And so that's sort of what I had been putting out there into the world too. Hey, those tackles are going to be gone. Sorry, everybody. But, lo and behold, one gets to within trade up range and they make it happen.
Perfect.
So you had mentioned like it's such a hard position to fill, left or right, that we would be able to get a guy to lock in not only depth, but a work in progress. Now that we have Lomu and his background and everything, how do you feel about him on this team for this season?
So for this season, I think you're looking at your swing tackle. And so that could mean either. Like I've had people ask me, well, does that mean left or right? Well, you tell me who misses time first. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, if one of those guys misses time, whether it's Campbell or Moses, and I think
you know what's going to happen.
Somebody's generally speaking, guys on the offensive line, they deal with a lot. So, my guess is Morgan Moses has such a good track record of being able to stay on the field. God bless him. Like he's going to be 35 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, I don't just necessarily put it in ink that Lomu will be the fill-in right tackle. It could be left if something as we saw last year, something happened to Will Campbell. So, I think that's what you're looking at. I think they'll cross-train him. I think people will freak out the first day they see him at left tackle in training camp, and it'll be like, oh boy, it's just a matter of time.
I can hear.
But the difference for me is I try to cross-reference sports and things all the time, and especially like comparing him to people. Like I compare him. I think he has potential to be like a Tim Duncan. Like football is not his strong. He's new to the sport. He obviously picked up on it well enough to get traded up for in the first round.
A big
His
dude.
size is what stuck out to me the most. What's also some things that I feel like make me nerdy about this is like he he got picked and he was wearing flip flops. To
Yep.
me, I think somebody with
The
that
fit.
big feet and they exposing that. I feel like he's just somebody that you do not want to f with.
Yeah.
So you know, I was excited about it. But you feel as though like we were gonna go tight end.
Right.
Well, only if and that was just assuming they wouldn't be able to get a tackle. I knew they wanted one. I just thought they wouldn't be able to get one until later.
Right.
So the thing with Lomu that's interesting is he's got all the physical traits that you want. You're talking about, you know, the
Oh, yeah.
size, the athleticism.
Yeah.
There are, like, I talked to coaches who are like, okay, is he gonna bury a defensive end's face in the dirt when he gets the opportunity? He's gonna be one of these guys like a Logan Mankins type who's just gonna
Yeah.
look to just rip
Yeah.
you limb from limb. Like
Yeah.
he's
I
probably
don't
not
get
that
that.
guy right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. It just
For
means,
sure. Yeah.
you know, like
He's a little more
different
gentle.
style.
it's a little
style.
different. It's a little
professional.
different style. And so,
Yeah.
you know, and I had one offensive coordinator whose team was in the tackle market tell me right before the draft, hey, usually tackles, if they fail, they don't fail because they're not willing to do the belly flop on top of the guy when their guy's already on the ground. Like they fail because they're not athletic enough to stay in front of the guy they're supposed to freaking block. And this guy has that. So like this coach was like, I can teach some of that other stuff if we really care about finish and we care about, you know, that kind of attitude. Like he can develop that over time if he's in the right environment. I can coach that. I can't coach athleticism. I can't coach size. And so
Bingo.
this guy has those
Yep.
rare traits to play this position that's really hard, those that are really hard to find. So I thought it was a smart move
Yep.
by the Patriots to move up and go get him when he got to within range. Because again, there's only so many guys who can play that position.
And that's why I used Tim Duncan as a reference because the
I like that.
intangibles are there.
Oh, yeah.
He's obviously going to be coachable because he's obviously absorbed this sport enough and grown love for it enough to be coachable enough to be a first round pick at one of the hardest positions in the sport. But fundamentally sound, we know Tim as the big fundamental. So we put coaching and fundamentals in the NFL level with this guy who already has the intangibles to be a dominant tackle or offensive lineman, football player. Period. I feel good about it.
I do too.
But as I stated earlier, you thought we were going to go moving forward. Now, more recently, you thought we were going to go tight end. Obviously, skipping around. But I'm just curious your thoughts on who we chose out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Eli Raridan. I like him a lot. Man. He's got a rare combination of skills himself. Quite frankly, you know, at 6'6", 250. You know, real willingness to block and played in an offense that asked him to do that and do it in line. But also a good enough athlete to be able to really threaten down the field. Like this guy's, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this, but in high school, the high school basketball highlights.
Yep.
Like watch those. This guy's a legitimate,
he's a monster,
explosive athlete, you know, and so I'll never call anybody Gronk until they earn that kind of stuff. But like I think the ways you use it, the types of routes, right? Those seam routes down the field. His ability to adjust and catch the ball if it's not perfectly on target, those back shoulder throws. He showed he can do all that at Notre Dame. The one thing, you know, I think you have to worry about maybe a little bit with him.
Injuries.
Yeah, you know, you tear your ACL, you tore the same ACL twice, but it was a while ago now. You know, it was actually during basketball season, his senior year of high school, and then he worked his way back very quickly, tore the same one again when he got to Notre Dame. So, yeah, you might have to worry about that. But I really like I really like the player, and guys, I really like what it can do, big picture for your offense, scheme wise. The ability to have multiple tight ends on the field, guys who like Austin Hooper was, I think, really good in his role at times.
Exactly.
Wasn't really going to move people in the run game. the same way I think this guy is capable of. So now you have not only do you have Hunter Henry and Eli Raridan, but you have Julian Hill, who you signed, who is like a people mover at tight end. So now, like, you have the ability to go 3 tight ends if you really want to, which is what LA did, the Rams, and had a ton of success with it last year.
Sure,
And
yeah,
it sounds like that's going to be maybe the new wrinkle offensively in the league. So I liked that pick a lot.
Yeah. Like you said, he's a rare wide tight end.
For sure.
So
it gets me giddy thinking about him lining up next to a guy that like Lomu, because now you got 2 monsters on one side,
and the run game opens
and
up.
you think like, okay, I'm definitely gonna run that way, but and defensively it's like, offensively you're like, we can trick them, because we got Drake, so
fake the run,
we can
Drake roll up,
overload this side, and there's so many things that can transpire. And obviously he was in a tight end room with a first round top 10 tight end in Loveland the previous season. He comes from a very established program. A lot of great tight ends come out of the University of he didn't go to but like in that Big 12, Big 10 regime of like tight ends. Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Like he
fits the mold of like your prototypical
just looks
Big
like
10 tight end.
he's just gonna be
like Travis
that new generational big time down the field receiver. And then he could be obviously a red zone threat. He's moving guys.
He's a multifaceted player, and like you said, I loved it. And the at the beginning wasn't for him; it was for Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Can't stand anything about it. Touchdown, Jesus. Go away. Like I'm good with him.
So we'll go back to round 2.
Yeah.
We got
the guy.
That was,
and Mr. Perry over here picked him, and you picked the actual process of how it was going to happen. Like,
so congratulations.
You can't be more spot on than what you. So the victory laps are very deserved.
It went into round 2 for sure.
That was creepy. Like that was creepy. Like I wasn't even, So I knew they liked him, and I knew they had met with him, and his play. It's easy to see why, right? Like you really don't need anybody, on the inside to tell you that that's the case, because you watch him play and it's like, this dude's violent. This dude is gonna finish. This guy is gonna high effort, high energy. Exactly. It's no surprise to me. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they're gonna let him wear Vrabel's old number. So he's like, that to me, I think said something.
He's 50.
So
I did not see that. You guys are breaking this news.
So he's a perfect fit. He really is a perfect fit for them. And we had Brett Bielema, his head coach at Illinois, on Next Pats this week, as well as James White, our buddy James White, who was on the Illinois staff last year. So he got to know Gabe and watch him practice. And these guys,
I did not know that either.
They love him. They love him. Yeah, James is coaching. He's a head coach. He's a head high school football coach now in the state of Illinois, Bennett Academy. But he was on the staff and working with the offense last year, and the year before that, he was Northern Illinois. So he's doing a lot of coaching.
So he's an Illinois guy. I know he went to Nebraska.
So he went to Wisconsin. His wife's family is from the Midwest. James is from Florida, so his wife. I think they're close. They're closer to that side of the family now. But he, like when you hear James White, who practiced with some badass dudes and like big guys, heavy-handed guys, to hear James White compare his play style, because they're different positions, although this guy played a little bit on the edge, but he compared Gabe Akis' play style to Dante Hightower, and like the physicality and the violence and the ability to put like men much bigger than him on their asses on a regular basis.
Every day, rep after rep after rep after rep.
James White on Twitter is like the most useful information you'll ever get, because he retweets stuff, he comments and everything, but it's so informative. That's where I found out like the same thing, the things that you just stated about him. He's such a great source.
He's awesome. He's got his own podcast too.
Sauce, dude. Sauce.
He's sauce. What a good sauce of intel. Love that guy. He loves him. Bielema loves him. Bielema obviously spent some time in the NFL too. He was on Bill's staff. So I think what's interesting about Akis is he doesn't have every trait that every team is looking for in a pass rusher. Like he's probably not like the bendiest guy. He's like
Mhm. You
there's
did
going to
mention
be,
that.
you know, there's a reason he was drafted at 55 and not 5 overall, like or
Yeah.
you know, like Arvell
Exactly.
Reese
It's
or
not
whatever. So
right.
so there are going to be things that he might not have,
Oh boy.
but the stuff he does have,
Yeah.
I think works. You know, a
Makes you
lot of
excited.
times in the
Yeah.
NFL, it just
And
works, and
yeah,
so I really
it
like
could
that pick for them.
that dirty work, that
Mhm.
extra effort, that snotty nose spit.
Oh yeah. That's what
Like
you
that
want. That's
gets
what you want.
yeah.
You want
You
that
know, it's like
football guy.
what do you need? What do you need to be bendy for at that
No.
point of the game? Like when that stuff's already happening, he's already taken over the game.
And they had
In
those
my
guys.
mind.
There were those bendy guys in the draft. Like there were small
Yeah.
bendy, you know, Cassius Howell, R. Mason Thomas.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
they, you know, there were those types. And the Patriots, you know, they could have had one of those guys bottom of the first round if they didn't feel
Mhm.
like Lomu was a great fit or whatever, and they just wanted to wait to
For sure,
31.
yeah.
Okay, maybe Lomu goes off the board. Let's get one of
Yep.
these smaller, speedier guys. You know, Elliot Wolf. I asked him before the draft. You know, what kind of body type are they looking for on the edge, and he talked about speed. So there were speed guys,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
Akis is a good combination
He's
of speed and
fixed.
power. You know what I mean? Like so he had I went back and did some research, and it's very rare to find edge defenders who number one are considered like round 1 or 2 picks, but also meet the criteria of 260 pounds and a 10-yard split of 159 or better. So that's your 40-yard dash. How fast did you run the first 10 yards? 159 is elite.
Oh
Elite
yeah.
for guys, especially that are that size. There just
Oh, for
aren't
sure.
that many who've done it. So he might not have, you know, he's not gonna be as quick maybe to turn the corner as like a Cassius Howell, but his
Mhm.
get off, like that burst off the line, that to me is a different type of speed. And
Yeah.
it's the kind of speed that really
It's a very
matters, I think,
intimate.
when you're
Yeah, it's
playing
a
on
very
the edge.
intimate
I think
speed.
that's
Yeah.
more
Oh yeah.
important than a 40-yard
Yeah.
dash time or whatever. Like so,
Scientifically, when you break it down and get nerdy, that's a
He's
point that you just
yeah.
unlocked in my brain for sure. I didn't even think of it in that aspect, so
Mhm.
I appreciate that.
I think he's a
We
steal.
yeah,
An
we
absolute
both
steal.
had
Like you
in
just
our mock draft, we both had Zion Young at 32.
yeah.
We both took Zion Young at 32. Obviously, you know, a guy that could have been top 10.
yeah,
But
badass
Oh,
dude,
obviously
badass.
talk about
Zion,
that body.
He's a tough sob. Like I like
Yeah.
Zion Young in
for
terms of
sure.
his
I
fit for
love
the
him.
team too.
We both, of course, yeah.
But I think Akis like gives you some of that along with a little bit more like a little more twitch. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
think Zion's um like against the run is going to be a badass at the next
Mhm.
level. But I
Mhm.
think you know you get a little more get off with Akis, and it's sort of like the best of both worlds to me, which is you know
More
again why
TFLs
Yeah.
for somebody like Young, more sacks for somebody like Akers. Basically, is
yep
what you're
And
saying
which something that you've been deprived of for a while is
for sure.
getting to the quarterback has been a huge
yep
problem for the defense. And I think, like you said, listening to obviously all your pre-draft stuff, and then when we finally got him, I was like, all right, well,
And
it's
you
got to be the guy.
so with the first 3 picks, obviously, you know,
Beautiful.
we feel as though you wholeheartedly feel as though Vrabel was a
It's
part of it. Do you believe that not having him for the remainder of the
Yeah.
draft was catastrophic? If you were to give
Or
it a word,
detrimental.
no I don't. So the first thing I would say is that you know rounds 4 through 7 and really I think specifically 5 through 7 is how it was put to me. You know when you talk to scouts, this for whatever reason was not viewed as a very strong class either at the top or the bottom. So and there were a few different theories. One of them that I found interesting was, you know, NIL is obviously so prevalent now,
hmm
and guys are making real
Cool.
money, right? They're making real money. If you're a good player in college football and you're making real dough, like why would you jump into the draft and maybe be a 6th or 7th round pick if you know you've got like
Some more
guaranteed
to give.
money. You know,
Yep, street
you're not
goods. Yep.
guaranteed to make a roster as a 6th or 7th round pick. You're
No.
getting real money. You're staying in school. You're getting a chance to improve. You go into the draft maybe the next year. And so, you know, one theory is this is just happening more and more across the country. And it's just shrunk the overall pool of draftable players. So by the time you get to the 5th round,
Mhm.
like the guys you're taking there, they're probably more along the lines of talent-wise an undrafted level player than has been the
Okay.
case in years past. So that's number one. That doesn't excuse like Vrabel not being at the draft or anything, or I'm not trying
Right.
to lessen it,
No,
like
no,
say,
no. That's
well,
your
there's no
insight.
players there anyway.
Yeah.
But that's just how this draft was viewed.
Different. Yeah.
I do think it was, I love the draft. You guys know that. So like not
course.
having the head coach there for day 3 of the draft to me is a big deal.
Yeah.
And that really,
I thought so as well.
made it a football story, no doubt. Vrabel's off the field issues right now. So
Yeah.
the picks though, in terms of Vrabel influence, one thing Elliot Wolf said after the fact was like, Vrabel had guys, and it sounds like he earmarked a few, and it sounds like they got a few. So
Okay.
was he involved in every pick?
Makes me
I
feel a
don't
little bit
know.
better.
But like I think they did a good job of addressing like I like getting premium positions late in the draft.
Yeah.
Like you
So
can take
crown
your
over.
get a tackle crown over, get a corner in Prunty, right?
Yep.
Like get a quarterback. Like I'm not like the quarterback's not going to be starting anytime soon.
Right.
But that's the Packer way, right? Is you draft a quarterback, you try to develop them, let them play in the preseason, see if you can spin them off for a better pick. So like I like all that stuff that they did on day 3. I do think, picks like the quarterback pick, picks like I would say the crown over pick and even the Lomu pick, like those ones, they feel a little Packers-y to me, like building through the trenches, getting guys that are versatile players. So like I do think Elliot Wolf had a real say in how this draft went down. But I think even on the day where Vrabel wasn't there, I think his influence was felt, and I think they tried to get players that Vrabel really liked.
Yeah. No, go.
No, go ahead.
The second day, well, the rounds 4 through 7, to me at least, from the eye, it looked a little bit more wolfy, if you so will, for the lack of a better term. But it just mirrored the Mayo season a little bit for me, which kind of threw the red flags up a little bit because, like, Derek and I watch a ton of college football. Like, every Saturday, we're locked in from 12 to midnight. It's just football. Prunty, and I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, but Obiazor from TCU. No idea. But when it was like a Belichick draft where it's like,
yes,
you see the name and you're like, who?
But I mean, and then obviously you watch the film
you
on
go
these
into
guys,
and review it
after, and it's like, okay.
But in the moment, you're like,
you obviously
who the hell is that?
and excited for the upside you see of the player. But there's been a lot of drafts over the course of the years that the Patriots have had, and players that we've had that you just had to reach down and pull the excitement out just to try and get through the draft. And just
Cole.
Obviously it's because of the moves that Vrabel has made, and it's been a huge breath of fresh air, almost erasing almost everything that Bill has done in the offseason. It's like I feel good about these guys. I'm glad they're on the roster. I'm glad we addressed the depth. With guys like Jim Miller after losing somebody like Antonio Gibson. Obviously, he's a Bama guy.
I'm a Bama guy, so I love the pick, but it just we know. Here we go. There's a little rivalry.
Love it.
Well, so.
Love it.
I love Jim. I love Woody. I love the type of play style that he comes with.
If he can stay healthy, though, I feel like, and as a Bama guy, he's too inconsistent with injuries, and he's just kind of. That's what concerned me. So for me, I was eyeing Heidenreich just because I think he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
He's one of those gritty, like puts his nose in, gets those extra yards. Type of guy that could have helped. Obviously, Pittsburgh scooped him before we could, but that was a guy I really liked. Also, like Bodiger, you had him in your draft and your mock draft too. I probably botched his name, but he's just crazy, flies to the ball, he's just everywhere. So guys like that I was looking at, and they were available. Zane Durant was another name that I really liked.
Yep.
And I liked his combine. So he was there, and we ended up going, he got obviously picked by Buffalo, which sucks, but hey, it is what it is. So
the Prunty, the Prunty pick, I like surprised people with other teams, right? Like I had an undrafted undrafted kind of grade on the ones that I talked to. I won't pretend that that I pulled all 31.
No, you're good.
Who knows? Maybe somebody was planning on taking him in the 6th, but it sounds like from the people I talked to, people just assumed he would be an undrafted kind of guy. And I don't know if it's, sometimes these guys, if they change schools, they sort of get lost in the shuffle. If they, there's just certain traits at certain positions. Like, I think there's some question about not his change of direction north south, but like lateral movement with Prunty
Okay.
that may have just kind of taken him off some radars. He's 6'1", so like he's got length, and like he ran a decent 40, and so like usually, hey, like ACC 6'1", 40 in the 4.4s, like pretty good number. Like in terms of his catch percentage allowed, it wasn't bad. So I understand teams saw him the way they saw him. I'm having trouble kind of like computing why they saw him that way, but it is what it is. Like that one surprised him. I will say the Obi Izor pick, that one got like positive reviews from other teams.
Okay.
Like, well, we really liked him. The athleticism is real. He's got like real twitch, real explosiveness. So for like a linebacker core that we're watching get like a little more modern in a post Belichick world, right? Where Bill just loved those like big hulking, had to be really smart, really tough. But like he wanted like 250 plus in terms of weight. He's a little lighter, former safety, great athlete is what it sounds like. So so that could be an interesting pick, just because I think like there's maybe room for some playing time at that position. You know what I mean? Like after Spillane and Ellis, I don't know
who do you really
who the next guy is. Yeah. So maybe it's him.
No, that's the questions I had on draft day. It's kind of like, where's the direction? Where's the focus after you basically nailed the first 3 right now. Right now, we obviously don't know how it's going to pan out, but right now on paper, you nailed the first 3. Now it's like the back half without Vrabel, it just brought into questions, at least for me. But the only way to find out is put the guys in the field and let them roll. So
they're going right now. They're going right now. The rookie mini camp this weekend. They're gonna get a chance to get their hands on these guys. It's always fun, like getting to see, Vrabel, whether it's a pro day or a practice. And I remember the rookie mini camp practice was the first time we got to see Vrabel like in person coach, and he just like ragdolling some of these poor kids. And it's like, they're just not used to having. They're not used to having a coach like all up in their space. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, this guy's my boss. I don't want to put him on his ass or anything, but like, I'm kind of getting embarrassed by this guy. He's 50 years old. Yeah. So like that'll be
myself too.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see this weekend.
That's probably Vrabel's mindset, though. It's like, if I try to embarrass these kids, how are they going to respond?
How do you? What's the pull? What's the
I see the
back?
I see the strategy behind it.
Yeah.
We have an honorable mention in the draft and we'll take a little victory lap off this one. Last year, we predicted that Efton Chisholm was going to make the 53.
Ooh.
Right out of camp. There's clips. They're out there. You can see them. They're on our page. We were like your prototypical white slot, Edelman, Amendola, Hogan, go down the list, Walker, whoever I'm missing. It just fit the bill too much. I was like, that for some reason I'm just feeling it. If there was a bet, I would have put money.
Well done.
This year,
okay. Who we got this year? That's the key. That's what we want to know now.
We got another one. In my mind, we got another one. Is Kyle Dixon out of Culver Stockton. Big, physical, like he's 6'4", 215. He's only obviously going to get bigger. I was watching some of his highlights. He lined up on the outside. He lined up on the slot. Sometimes he's just big, but for a big guy, he's got a lot of speed. He can get down the field. He can break tackles. He can get by that safety. Obviously, I know where he played, so it's like.
I mean, he already got his $250K for the year,
and Chisholm got like 240 in the 240 range. So
that's for guys in that position. That's real dough. You know what I mean? That's real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, you don't invest in that unless you're planning on them sticking around in some form. Maybe not the 53. I'm not saying 53.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious at with his stats or where he takes himself. You know, like does he ascend and just puts Culver Stockton on the map, or like
do it?
I at first glance I said I don't think he's going to make the team, so I'll stick with that. But You know,
I
we're
like it.
we're,
I
we're
like it. You know, when you it's follow the money, right? It
Oh, of
like
course.
when you hear about stuff like
The
that,
signs are right there.
the way it was reported, you know, that's a good sign that they really, really wanted that guy. And I love your point about the size. It's the size and the athleticism. I believe he's a 40-plus-inch vertical leap guy, which is indicative of like real
Let's go.
lower body
Make me
explosiveness.
right again.
So, you know, even if it's not offensively, like that's the kind of guy where you bring him in and it's like,
Somewhere.
you know, okay, if he's not gonna start for us, right? At receiver, in all
No,
likelihood.
of
You're
course
right.
not. No.
But let's bring him in, let's work with him, let's see if he can do anything on special teams, use that size speed
Yeah.
combination on special teams. I know they were, they're looking for help in the kicking game. Like last year, it was sort of an underrated um, injury. They lost basically their second gunner opposite Brendan Schooler, and so like,
Yeah.
okay, they kind of were trying to fill that all year. Okay, maybe this kid is one of those guys.
Maybe
Like
he's it.
maybe now he's in that mix, and
Yep.
so
Hell
like
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see. I like following all these undrafted guys. Jimmy Kibble.
I love
I
it
don't know if
too.
you guys have heard of Jimmy Kibble. Jimmy Kibble,
Yep.
straight out of
Yep.
Georgetown. I got to support
Yep.
my Hoyas, so it's very rare. Very rare. If I had the big hat, give me the big hat with the different color G on it. Um,
For sure.
he
Rep it. Rep your
it's
set.
very rare that Georgetown gets anybody into any kind of rookie mini camp or
NFL.
anything.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so hoping he can do
Let's
something.
go. Yeah.
How
We'll
you
take-
thinking?
take 'em all.
What do you think about like? Is there anything you're looking forward to, like outside of AJ Brown, which we can get into real
Right.
quick? But is there anything that you're looking for the Patriots to do outside of anything?
And that's really it. Around here, the last 48 hours since the Diggs case has come and gone, people
A lot of questions.
are hey, any chance Diggs could come back? That would really surprise me, especially
Yeah.
bringing in AJ Brown, which I believe they'll do. Um, that's the one where I say I think they saw Diggs as sort of a 1 year guy, right? He's not like a
Okay.
foundational piece that you build
Right.
around.
Okay.
Especially with AJ Brown. Now you're talking about two big personalities, like two alphas in that receiver room. That's a hard
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
that's
could
a
cause
hard
chaos
thing to
in a
try
long
to
way.
figure out. There, we got to remember, there's human beings involved here, right? It's not fantasy
Of course.
football, like so.
Yeah.
But the AJ Brown thing,
He's
I think,
also
is
coming
real.
from a room,
Yeah.
with
You know,
Saquon and
Yeah.
Devon Smitty. Like,
Yeah.
I see that. I see that angle.
Well-
I've been adamant on, especially now with Pickens not signing his tender. I've been Mike has been AJ Brown all the way.
I have.
I'm not mad if we do. I would love Pickens more, and I think that you could get him from Dallas for much less than you can get AJ Brown, who's a little bit older. Obviously, the issues that come with AJ Brown that transition from Philly, some call it baggage,
him.
what have you.
I'll take
He's a diva. He's a wide receiver. Get over it. That's my viewpoint of it. But I personally, I would rather George, just to see him grow, blossom with Drake. Give him an extended contract. He has the potential to do a franchise tag this year and next year, which is probably going to be around $50 million over the course of 2 seasons. He's coming. I just personally, I would rather, go after Pickens, but AJ Brown seems to be already a done deal. Why haven't they come out and said it's official? Just it's going to be official June 2nd.
Yeah.
That's my whole ordeal with that.
Well, listen,
but,
the Pickens thing, there's an argument to be made there because he's younger, right? He's 25. AJ Brown's 29. He doesn't have the injury issue, the injury flag that that AJ Brown does. I mean, the Rams reportedly were in on AJ Brown and got out once they found out a little bit more about the knee. So that would be concerning to me
A little concerning.
if I'm the Patriots. Your point on cost is a that one interests me maybe the most right now because it does seem like this is going to happen. It's just we don't know for how much, right? And Adam Schefter keeps reporting he thinks a first round pick's going to be
Day in and
involved.
day out.
Now, that doesn't mean it's for a first round pick straight up though. Like just because a 2028 is how he's been terming it, 2028 first is involved, is something coming back to the Patriots that makes it hurt a little less, for lack of a better phrase. So if you're giving away your first, but you're maybe getting back, I don't know. What is it? Is it a third round pick? Is it a second round pick? Like, you're still giving up something of significance in the first rounder, and I would prefer you don't if I'm running the Patriots. But if you're
Do
getting
you really
back
think it's a first rounder?
I
Sorry to cut you off.
think if Schefter's saying a 2028 first, and that's going to be involved, he doesn't throw stuff out like that. You know what I mean? I don't think so. But if you can get a day 2 pick back in return, with AJ Brown, now it's a different conversation to me. So I hate parting with those first round picks, because that should be the lifeblood of your organization, and you don't know where they are. Like, you think you're going to be a good team in 2028. I think they'll be a good team in 2028. The Commanders thought they were going to be a good team in 2025. And here they are picking in the top 10 in 2026. So, like, things happen, and you'd hate to give up, something of massive, massive value for a player who I think will provide real value in AJ Brown for like maybe a couple years. And then now we're talking about managing an injury and how much longer is he going to be around, that kind of thing. So I think you just have to be careful with the cost.
My thing with that was, if the first round pick was somehow Patriots motivated, because maybe they're hearing like a team like Kansas City, which if AJ Brown went there, would be like, great, here we go. If the Patriots are the ones kind of pushing that narrative, being like, oh yeah, it's a 2028 first round pick, and then it just scare these other teams off. Like, no, we're not going there. And then when the deal gets done, oh, it's a second round pick. Oh, it's like a third, a second and a seventh, or a second and fourth 2 years from now. It's like, well, we got duped because, who was leaking that? So that was my only thing, was kind of looking at it and saying, is it actually that first round? But like you said, if Schefter's tossing it out there consistently, it's probably that.
That's my thought. And I think where you need to be at your best as a negotiator, whether it's Vrabel himself or Elliott Wolf or Ryan Count, is like, you got to get, if it's a first round pick and they're dying to have that first rounder and they want that to be the headline in Philadelphia, so that, Howie Roseman can tell everybody he won the deal, which seems to be a big thing for him, even though he doesn't seem to have much leverage in this case.
Let him stand on the mountain.
Let it get okay. So you get your first rounder back, take AJ, but then get something else back. You got to get something else back to make it hurt less. That's all.
Of course.
Well, Phil, we got the schedule release coming up. We got Forged season 2 coming up.
All good things to look forward to.
We got things to look forward to. Is there anything that you want to shout out? Anything you want to, boost or brag about?
No. You guys.
Outside of that mock draft,
I feel like I should be paying you guys for the hype the mock draft got. So thank you for mentioning that. No, we got a lot of stuff coming still on Next Pats, right, where we'll be digging into these prospects. We did a Eli Raridan focus pod with the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, offensive coordinator from Notre Dame. I know, like, we're trying to stay away from like a lot of Notre Dame love, but we got that one. We got Gabe Akis.
It's okay. If it's coming from you, it's all right.
Gabe Akis is out right now. And we will have, you mentioned the schedule release. We will, I'm not going to promise it yet, because we have to make sure we're finalized and everybody's good to go on it. But in all likelihood, we'll be live on YouTube as the schedule's coming out. And Curran, we did this last year. Curran and I will be discussing it in real time, so that'll be fun.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So yeah, and other than that, guy, I'm coaching a lot of 8 and 9-year-old baseball, and I'm we're trying to.
Oh man,
I just started T-ball with my son Saturday, so
it's fun. It's a blast. It's a blast. I love it.
Yeah, it was a time for sure.
It's like herding cats. It's like herding cats at times.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I said herding sheep, but yeah.
But it's a challenge, but I love it. I love it. It's a great time of year. So that's all I got looking forward to right now.
We got mini camp, we got training camp. We'll be down at training camp too. So
nice.
We cross paths.
Let's go. I love it.
Up, guy.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be down there a couple of days and
awesome.
Kind of get a look and see what's going to happen.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you again so much. Can't thank you enough for a second opportunity. Hopefully this can obviously progress into a third episode for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, I like I did last time. You know,
Might as well.
always end the show with, it's almost impossible to be alive, so take advantage of it. You know, you could be the next. You can go 29 for 32 and beat out Phil for the next mock draft.
You could be out there. You never know. But
It'll
you don't know
happen.
until you try. So.
It'll happen.
But thank you, sir.
No.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Phil.
I appreciate you
Been a
guys
blast.
having me. You guys are the best. Keep doing what you're
sir.
doing, and we'll talk soon. All right.
For sure.
Sounds good.
All right. See you, boys.
Yes, sir.
Later, man.